My brother's voice cut across the family dinner table like a knife. "You're not seriously expecting us to celebrate your retirement when you still owe Dad's estate money, right?" Everyone went silent, all eyes on me. I sat there frozen, my face burning with shame, and my brother smiled like he'd already won. I sat there speechless, and that's exactly what he wanted. My name is Rebecca. I'm 58 years old, and 2 weeks ago I was supposed to retire after 35 years as a medical office administrator. It wasn't glamorous work. I scheduled appointments, handled billing, kept doctors' offices running smoothly. But it was steady, reliable, and I was good at it. I'd been counting down the days to retirement for months, dreaming of small trips, sleeping in, maybe finally reading all those books stacked on my nightstand. I had a modest pension and a little bit saved, nothing fancy, but enough. My older brother, 3 years older, he was the flashy one. Owned his own business, big house in the suburbs, always posting on Facebook about his investments and his lake house. I was the behind-the-scenes sister, the one who helped Mom and Dad with bills when money got tight, the one who loaned family members cash and never asked when I'd get it back, the responsible one who never said no. I never got thanked for it, just expected to keep giving. I didn't have my brother's expensive car or his vacation home, but I had something he'd completely forgotten about. Records, lots of them. If you've ever been the family giver who got nothing but grief in return, hit subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. I read every comment. It started 2 weeks before my retirement party. My brother called me out of the blue on a Tuesday night. I was packing up my desk at work, feeling nostalgic and happy. "Hey, Rebecca, we need to talk about Dad's estate." I frowned. Dad had passed 3 years ago, and we'd already settled most of it. "What about it?" "Well, I was going through Dad's old files, and I found something. He lent you $15,000 before he died. You never paid it back." I actually laughed. "What?" "No, he didn't. That never happened." "I have documentation, Rebecca. I'm not making this up." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" His voice went cold, transactional. "I'm just trying to keep things fair, Rebecca. You understand. You need to pay it back before we can finalize the estate." I was stunned silent. I'd actually been the one paying Dad's medical bills while my brother was too busy with his business. Thousands of dollars, out of my own pocket. "This is insane. I never borrowed money from Dad." "We'll discuss it at dinner this weekend. The whole family will be there." He hung up. I stared at my phone, hands shaking. My inheritance from Dad's estate was $22,000. Not life-changing, but it was supposed to pad my retirement, give me a cushion. Now he was threatening it. That weekend we had dinner at my aunt's house. Casual family thing, or so I thought. I walked in nervous, hoping my brother had come to his senses. Instead, he ambushed me, right there at the table in front of my aunt, uncle, and 2 cousins. "Before we eat, I just want to address something," he said, standing up like he was giving a presentation. My stomach twisted. "Rebecca, I need you to acknowledge the money you borrowed from Dad. $15,000. It's documented." Everyone turned to stare at me. I felt my face go hot. "I didn't borrow anything." He pulled out a folded piece of paper from his pocket and laid it on the table. A photocopy of a promissory note. Dad's signature at the bottom. My name typed across the top. $15,000. My aunt gasped. My uncle shook his head slowly, disappointed. My cousin muttered under her breath, "I always wondered how she afforded that car." I tried to speak, but my voice came out shaky and weak. "This isn't real. I never signed this. Dad never—" My brother cut me off. "Numbers don't lie, Rebecca. Dad kept records." I looked down at the paper again, and that's when I saw it. The date, July 2020. My father had a stroke in March 2020, a severe one. He couldn't write, couldn't even hold a pen for months after. This note was dated 4 months after his stroke. My brother had forged it, planned this, waited until I was vulnerable, weeks away from retirement, and then struck. I left that dinner in tears, humiliated and terrified. But I wasn't broken. Not yet. A week later, I was scrolling through Facebook and saw photos from my cousin. She'd posted pictures from a family gathering at my brother's house. I hadn't been invited. The caption read, "Family Financial Planning Meeting. So grateful for everyone's input on Dad's legacy fund." They were dividing up Dad's remaining assets, talking about a memorial fund. And I wasn't even there. I texted my cousin. "Didn't know there was a meeting." She replied an hour later, "Oh, we thought you'd be uncomfortable, with the money situation." I stared at that message for a long time. He was poisoning them against me, making me look like the bad guy. Then came my retirement party. I'd paid for it myself at a little Italian restaurant downtown. My coworkers came, a few friends, some family. It was supposed to be a happy day. My brother showed up uninvited. He walked in wearing a big smile, carrying a bottle of wine. Halfway through dinner, he stood up and clinked his glass. "I'd like to make a toast." I wanted to say no, but I couldn't without looking petty in front of everyone. He raised his glass. "Here's to my sister Rebecca, finally retiring after all these years. Guess it's easier to quit when you've been borrowing from family your whole life, huh?" Just kidding. Mostly. A few people laughed nervously. My coworkers exchanged uncomfortable glances. One of them, Janet, pulled me aside later. "Is everything okay? I didn't know you had money trouble." I tried to laugh it off, but my voice cracked. "It's nothing. Family stuff." I went home that night and cried until my chest hurt. A few days later, my pension administrator called me. "Ms. Rebecca, we received a concerning inquiry about your account." "What kind of inquiry?" "Someone claiming to be a family member stated you have outstanding debts and asked about garnishment procedures." My blood went cold. "That's not true. There's no debt. We thought it was strange, so we're documenting it. Just wanted to alert you." Then the text started. "Just sign over your part of the inheritance. You owe it anyway. Don't make this harder than it has to be. People are asking questions, Rebecca. I'm trying to protect your reputation." He threatened to go to our church, my former employer, the extended family. I felt trapped, gaslit, exhausted. But that night, I stopped answering his calls, and I went down to my basement. I pulled out boxes of old financial records, bank statements, emails, receipts from when Dad was sick, and I started piecing together a very different story. What my brother didn't know, or had conveniently forgotten, was that 20 years ago, I saved his business before it even started. When he launched his company, he had no credit, no collateral, nothing. He begged me to co-sign on a business line of credit. I had excellent credit back then. Stable job, no debt. I signed the papers thinking it was temporary. He promised he'd remove me once the business took off. He never did. And I never followed up. I trusted him. I was still on that account. And he had no idea. I also kept meticulous records of every dollar I'd spent on Dad's care. Emails where my brother ignored my requests for help. Texts where he said he couldn't afford to contribute. And then I found something else. A bank statement from Dad's account. 1 week before Dad died, there was a $30,000 withdrawal, made by my brother, using his power of attorney. I'd seen it months ago and assumed it went toward Dad's care. But now I pulled up all of Dad's medical bills. Every single one was paid by insurance, and the few that weren't, I'd paid myself. So where did that $30,000 go? While my brother was busy forging Dad's signature on fake loan papers, he forgot I'd been the one organizing Dad's finances for years. Big mistake. I called Patricia, the estate attorney who'd handled Dad's will. She was sharp, mid-60s, no nonsense. I sent her the photocopy of the promissory note. She called me back within an hour. "Rebecca, your father had a stroke in March 2020. This note is dated July 2020. How exactly did he sign this?" "He couldn't," I said. "He couldn't even hold a pen." "Then we have a problem, a legal one, for your brother." She suggested I document everything. I also called the bank that held my brother's business line of credit. The account manager was polite but bureaucratic. "Yes, Ms. Rebecca, you're still listed as co-signer and guarantor." "What's the account status?" A pause. "The account is near its limit, $85,000, and there have been multiple late payments in the past year." My heart pounded. "As co-signer, what are my rights?" "You can request closure of the account or call the loan due immediately." I thanked her and hung up. Then I called Michael, Dad's old accountant and family friend. I sent him the bank statement showing the $30,000 withdrawal. He called me back that evening. "Rebecca, this money didn't go to your father's care. I have no idea where it went." Meanwhile, my brother's arrogance grew. He posted on social media about buying a rental property with his share of the inheritance. In the family group text, he wrote, "Some of us know how to build wealth instead of just coasting to retirement." My aunt commented, "So proud of you." Then I got an official notice. My brother had filed a formal legal claim against the estate, demanding $15,000. The estate settlement was now delayed indefinitely. I was furious, heartbroken, but also ready. Patricia called me. "We have enough. Let's end this." The estate meeting was scheduled for the following week. I prepared my documents, practiced what I'd say. I felt terrified, but also powerful for the first time in months. The meeting was at Patricia's law office. Present: me, my brother, his wife Linda, Patricia, and an estate mediator. My brother walked in confident, almost smug. Expensive watch, new suit. He placed the forged promissory note on the table like it was a winning hand. The mediator began. "We're here to resolve the disputed claim." My brother interrupted. "It's not disputed. She borrowed money. Dad documented it. Simple." Patricia calmly opened a folder. "We had the document analyzed. The ink type is inconsistent. The paper stock is wrong. The signature doesn't match known samples." She slid hospital records across the table. "This note is dated 4 months after your father's stroke left him unable to write." My brother's face went red. "That's ridiculous. Dad was fine." Patricia's voice was ice. "These are medical records from the hospital." My brother tried to push forward. "Okay, maybe the date's wrong, but she still owes." I finally spoke. My voice was shaking, but steady. "You're right. Let's talk about money owed." I slid a document across the table, a copy of the business line of credit, my name highlighted as co-signer. "Remember this? I signed it 20 years ago to help you. I'm still on it." He froze. I continued. "I spoke to the bank last week. You're 3 payments behind. The account's maxed out. And as co-signer, I have the right to demand immediate repayment." "You wouldn't dare." I pulled out another document, the bank statement showing the $30,000 withdrawal. "Week before Dad died, you took $30,000 from his account. Want to explain that?" Linda, his wife, stared at him. "What is she talking about?" He stammered. "That was for his care, his medical—" I laid out the hospital bills, insurance statements, my own checking account records. "Every bill is here, paid in full, by me and insurance. So where's the money?" Silence. The mediator looked at my brother, waiting. He was sweating now. I borrowed it. For a business emergency, I was going to pay it back. My voice was like ice. You stole from our dying father, then forged documents to frame me so no one would notice. Patricia leaned forward. Elder financial abuse is a criminal offense. We can refer this to authorities. I looked my brother in the eyes. Here's what's going to happen. You drop every claim against me and this estate. You repay that $30,000 in full, or I call your credit line due today and report you for elder abuse. He realized he was beaten. His business couldn't survive if the loan was called. He had no choice. Quietly, humiliated, he whispered, "Fine." Patricia drafted the settlement agreement on the spot. My brother signed without making eye contact. Linda walked out first, furious with him. As they left, I said one last thing. If you ever lie about me again, everyone will know what you did to Dad. 2 weeks later, the estate was settled. I received my rightful inheritance. My brother had to liquidate his precious rental property to repay the $30,000 to the estate. Word spread in the family. Apologies trickled in from my aunt, my cousins. Some relationships were repaired. Others I chose to walk away from. I didn't gloat. Didn't post on social media. Didn't rub it in. I simply removed myself from my brother's life completely. Blocked his number. Unfriended him online. Declined invitations where he'd be present. I retired as planned. Took a small trip to the coast. Sat on the beach one morning, watching the waves, and realized I felt lighter than I had in years. For 35 years, I'd been the responsible one, the giver, the forgettable sister who kept the peace and paid the bills. But that day in Patricia's office, I learned something. Keeping records isn't petty, it's protection. And standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. My brother thought my retirement would be his payday. Turns out it was my freedom. I finally understood. I never needed his approval. I just needed my backbone. If you've ever had a family member try to take what you earned, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop your location in the comments. I read every single one and I want to know where you're watching from. Have you ever had to stand up to someone who completely underestimated you? Maybe a sibling, a parent, a cousin. Share your story below. This community is here for you. You're not alone, and your story matters.